A very good evening to all of you. This video is second in our cyst of the odontogenic origin. Now, I have already made a detailed video on dentigerous cyst, and this is going to be your 5-minute recap before your exams. For more such videos, you can head on to the channel and check out the playlist. So before we get into the dentigerous cyst, a cyst is any pathological cavity. Its contents can be fluid, semi-fluid, and gaseous, not created by the accumulation of pus, may or may not be lined by epithelium. We have studied the classification of the cyst of jaws, which include true and false cysts, which is epithelial, non-epithelial, developmental and inflammatory, and odontogenic and non-odontogenic. And the cyst of concern today, being the dentigerous cyst, is an odontogenic developmental cyst with a lining epithelium, which is this in the diagram. Now, getting into the definition quickly, it is an odontogenic cyst. That means it arises from the cells that give rise to the tooth that are involved in odontogenesis. It surrounds the crown of an impacted tooth, as in this diagram. It is surrounding the crown of the impacted tooth attached at the cemento-enamel junction, caused by the accumulation of fluid between the enamel surface and the reduced enamel epithelium. I'll talk about this in a minute. It results in a crown which is located within the lumen. It is called the dentigerous cyst because dentigerous means bearing a tooth. It is called pericoronal because it surrounds the crown of the tooth, and follicle because it is associated with an expanded dental follicle. It is always attached to the cemento-enamel junction. So here you have the enamel, cemento-enamel junction. It might also be associated with an odontoma or supernumerary tooth. It is the most common developmental odontogenic cyst. Its etiopathogenesis is related to fluid accumulation between the reduced enamel epithelium and the crown. So as you know, an erupting tooth, it is covered by something called the reduced enamel epithelium, which protects the crown. As the tooth erupts, there can be compression of the follicle containing the reduced enamel epithelium, leading to increased venous pressure and increased transudation of fluid, causing separation of the follicle and cyst formation. Clinically, it is seen in the second and third decades, male predilection, commonly seen with unerupted mandibular and maxillary third molar and sometimes the maxillary cuspid areas. In its presentation, it is usually solitary. Bilateral may be associated with cleidocranial dysplasia and Marotta-Lamy syndrome. The smaller lesions are asymptomatic, while the larger ones, they cause expansion of your bone. As you can see here, expansion of the cortical plate, displacement of the adjacent tooth and resorption of the roots of adjacent tooth, and as well as facial asymmetry and pain, right? So here you have an apparent swelling, may cause expansion of bone, displacement and resorption of the roots of adjacent teeth, and gross facial asymmetry. The larger lesions may cause hollowing out of the entire ramus, as you can see here. It involves the entire ramus up till the condyle and the coronoid and causes up the hollowing of the ramus. It might also cause pathological fracture. It causes displacement of third molar. It is associated with the maxillary cuspid. It might cause anterior maxillary expansion, usually not associated with pain unless secondarily infected. Radiographically, it is a well-defined unilocular radiolucent area with sclerotic margins. So it is unilocular, well-defined with a sclerotic margin, as you can see here, this white color line. It is always attached to the cemento-enamel junction. And the most important differential diagnosis is the dental follicle. This is usually 3 to 4 mm, while a dentigerous cyst is larger than 5 mm. It has 3 radiological variants, which are central, lateral, and circumferential. The central surrounds the crown symmetrically, the lateral is dilated on one aspect, and the circumferential surrounds the entire tooth, including the root. In this diagram as well, you can identify this is the central variant, this is the lateral, and this is the circumferential. Histologically, we can study it under 3 parts, which are always your lumen, your lining epithelium, and your connective tissue capsule. So here, the lumen, it consists of cystic fluid, which is thin, watery, and blood-tinged. Epithelium consists of reduced enamel epithelium resembling cells, which constitute the stratified squamous epithelium, 2 to 3 layers. The connective tissue wall shows young fibroblasts and mucopolysaccharide, and sometimes the odontogenic epithelial remnants. So let's see it in this diagram. Here you have your lumen, which contains the cystic fluid, which is pale yellow, sometimes occasionally blood tinged. Then you have the cystic epithelium lining. Now, since it is derived from the reduced enamel epithelium, it resembles your stratified squamous epithelium. It is non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium, which has flattened cells, 2 to 3 layers in thickness, right? You characteristically see no red apex, right? So the connective tissue interface with the epithelium lining is flat. Sometimes these cells may show metaplastic changes. And when you go on to the connective tissue, you see your fibroblasts, you see your collagen fibers, and sometimes odontogenic epithelial remnants. So these are called odontogenic islands. So again, your lumen has cystic fluid. Your epithelium lining is non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium, 2 to 3 layers, and the connective tissue might show odontogenic islands. The treatment includes surgical enucleation for smaller lesions and marsupialization for larger lesions. It has minimal tendency to recur, and the potential complications include ameloblastoma, epidermoid carcinoma, and mucoepidermoid carcinoma. In the previous video, we have solved these 2 MCQs, the answer being radicular cyst and primordial cyst. And to summarize, it is an odontogenic cyst surrounding the crown of an impacted tooth, fluid accumulation between reduced enamel epithelium and enamel, attached to CEJ, clinically seen in second and third decade, males, mandibular third molar, solitary, may cause bone expansion, asymmetry, root resorption and hollowing out of the ramus, pathological fractures, well-defined unilocular radiolucency with a sclerotic margin. Histopathology, we have seen the lumen, we have seen the epithelium, and we have seen the connective tissue capsule. The treatment includes enucleation and marsupialization. Complications were ameloblastoma, epidermoid carcinoma, and mucoepidermoid. So with this video, we have concluded the summary of dentigerous cyst. For a more detailed video, you can check out the description. So all the best for your exams and have a good day.